Possession films are a dime a dozen nowadays. And because of that, it takes a lot for me to watch them, as well as it's really hard for any of them to stack up to The Exorcist, the granddaddy of them all, and the film that set the high bar standard. But it hasn't stopped filmmakers from trying with the rather laughable Exorcist the Heretic, the rather solid in name only Exorcist 3, and then we got ourselves a pair of prequels. Exorcist the Beginning, directed by Die Hard 2 Helmer Rennie Harlin, the one that released to theaters that I'm sure most people know about, and the one few people know about, directed by Paul Schrader, writer of Raging Bull. Dominion, prequel to The Exorcist. This has one of the most fascinating productions in Hollywood history, up there with Heaven's Gate. Schrader was hired after John Frankenheimer passed away during the middle of pre-production, and he also brought on Stellan Skarsgård after Liam Neeson left after Frankenheimer's passing. Schrader made his movie, and upon screening for the studio wasn't happy with it. It wasn't scary, it wasn't bloody, it wasn't tense. It was something they didn't want. They fired Schrader, brought in a bunch of directors, and said who wants to do reshoots. Harlan said he would be uncomfortable. He would rather make his own movie. They gave Harlan lots of money. He produced almost a new version based upon the same script, and that was released as Exorcist the Beginning. The two films cannot be more polar opposite apart, and Dominion is the better of the two. What was it that Morgan Creek didn't like and Warner Bros. Didn't like? Dominion is not so much a horror film. It's a character study of Marin. During the German retreat out of Belgium, his village was tantamount to massacred by retreating forces after partisans attacked their column. It does heavily affect him as he's the one who's forced to pick out men to execute. Dominion also completely subverts the normal possession idea, and in some ways I would almost call it an anti-horror film. Instead of someone becoming possessed and slowly rotting and decaying away, it's a small boy who's already rotted, decayed, and crippled, becoming more angelic and more perfect, almost an angel-like appearance. And so it does conflict with Marin a little bit if he should exorcise this demon, which he knows is evil, but at the same time the boy is getting healthier, and this boy getting healthier is taken as a sign by another priest that the work of the Lord is there. Dominion is not scary. I will say that up front. It's not a scary film. It's a character study and really much more thought out and much more thoughtful than you would probably expect from a prequel to a really old movie. I still love this picture, and it is a phenomenal film that you should watch, as it's very different from the normal possession pictures we're getting nowadays. There are some noticeable flaws, though. Schrader was kicked out of post-production while his film was still being finished up. Those rough edges do show. Morgan Creek did give him reportedly around $35,000 to complete the movie, which is pennies in the Hollywood world. The visual effects are fairly rough. The film is not color timed. Some of the music is a little off, and some of the sound design doesn't feel entirely complete. The film is rough from that perspective, but nevertheless, I believe its strength in story and performance do stand above all that, and is well worth your time. And actually, a double feature with Exorcist at the Beginning is also well worth your time to take a look at the performance difference in Stellan Skarsgård, who, in Harlan's version, plays, I would say, slightly more of a drunkard, and in Schrader's version, plays a man who's heavily conflicted about his faith. And I would say, of the pair, watch Dominion. It is the superior film. Have a wonderful day.